Hey everybody, it's Mark again, and I want to do a video on gongs and how to adjust a gong. And I got this shield clock here. It's not an antique clock, and I think I paid like $25 or $30 for it a couple years ago. But I love the clock. It's one of the clocks that I keep running in my house. That was my Herbert Hur shelf clock. But anyway, it's one of the clocks, few clocks that I keep running in my house. It's an 8-day clock along with this cuckoo clock here that I keep running in my house. But I want to let you listen to the gong. And I need to fix this because it's been out of whack for a long time. You hear that? It wasn't a vibrant sound. It was like a dead ring sound. If you didn't hear it, we're going to play it again. The problem is the hammer is too close to the gong itself. So I'm going to take it off the wall and we're going to adjust it. Using my rag with Old English oil on it, even though this is metal, I cleaned it up. Cleaned up the back of the dial. Here it says Froelich Clayton. I believe that is the company, and Clayton is the type. It's got an ergos movement in it. UW is, I believe, is ergos. I will verify that. 726 movement. But up here on top is where the bell sits. And the hammer. And so you have to A, put the bell back on, B, tighten the bell down, and then the bell is held into place by the screw and this nut on this arm. So you want to first make sure that's tight, because if this is loose, you can adjust the hammer all day long and it's not going to help you out. So I need to adjust that. After adjusting the bell, tightening the bell down onto the arm, I now need to put the arm onto the case. It's held in by 2 screws. Which one of those screws just dropped on the floor? Which the other one just dropped on the floor. So let me get the screws and put it on the case, and I'll be right back. For some reason, and I don't know why, but my video quit recording. But I was telling you that the wire, the hammer wire, was touching the wood, preventing it from striking. But I bent it away from the bell. Doesn't that sound a lot better? Let's let you hear it again. I love that sound a lot better than what it was. I don't know why, but my case is coming away from the dial. I've never taken this movement apart before. It's still on there. I'm happy that it's not going to come off. There are blocks of wood in here that is stopping it from coming off. But it comes with this dust cover here. And I'm happy, and I'm going to put it back onto the wall. Whenever you take something off the wall, and before you put it back on the wall, make sure that your screw, and I use screws, or nail, is still tight in the wall. And if it's not, you need to fix it, because you don't want your clock come crashing down. Now that I have it back on the wall, I need to put it in beat again. Doesn't that sound a lot better? I never did count the numbers. I might have to adjust the hand. It's out of beat, so I have to adjust that also. Now this is my Wuba one-day Zandam clock. It has something that looks similar to a cuckoo clock movement in it. And I've got a video that shows you the movement. I'm not going to take it back off the wall to show you the movement, but it has a one-chain system on it. And this is the only clock that I've seen with a one-chain system on it. Now, honestly, you could put 2 chains on this clock. However, it has one continuous chain. This weight here is the main weight, and then there's a small weight down there that is the counterweight. The only thing that counterweight does is to keep that chain straight up and down. I have a grandfather clock, an antique grandfather clock, is designed the exact same way. Now, because it's so high up in the air, I gotta stand on that stool to show y'all what I want to show you. As you can see, the hammer is away from the gong. You hear how vibrant that sounds? Sounds beautiful. Now I'm going to adjust that wire so the hammer is right next to the gong, or touching it, so stand by. Now I have the hammer touching the gong. Now listen to it. You hear how dead that sounds? There has to be space, and that depends on the bell or the gong or the chime rods on your particular clock. So adjusting that wire again, hopefully I can adjust it with one hand. You hear how nice that sounds now? There are going to be times when no matter how much you adjust the hammer, it sounds like crap. You might have to adjust the gong. On this antique cuckoo clock, made by, and I said made by because they made cuckoo clocks. Even though they imported the movements, they made cuckoo clocks. Made by the American Cuckoo Clock Company. On this gong, there's a piece that you can undo to loosen this gong. You can loosen this gong and adjust it up or down. And I would suggest that you loosen that versus bending this wire, because if you bend this wire too many times, guess what? You're going to break it off. And you also want to make sure that the gong is not touching any of the wood. That way you can get a vibrant sound. It is the same way as I told you before. The hammer has to have a little bit of space between it and the gong rod, or the chime rods, or the chime bell, or the bell itself. If the hammer doesn't have that space, this is what it's going to sound like. You might have some vibration, but if it hits it and then comes up and then comes back down, you're going to get a dead sound. So it has to have some space to sound like that. No space. So you want that vibrant noise. You want that space to give you that vibrant noise. And some hammers have got leather on them. Some have got just a plastic piece on them. And some of them don't have anything at all and just a piece of metal. You can still get that vibrant noise with just a piece of metal, just like I did with this screwdriver. No leather on it, no plastic, no nothing. Nothing to protect it, just metal. And as you can see with this antique clock, it is nothing but metal in the hammer itself. To adjust this gong, I've got videos where I show that you could take a string or a piece of wire and run it from this side of the case to this side of the case to see where the you run it just underneath the hammer, and then you put this door on, and where that wire is on both sides of the door, you would lift the door back. You would take like a piece of pencil and mark where that wire is, and then you would lift that door up, and then you would take a ruler or another piece of string or a wire that goes from your marks to find out where the hammer bottom is. That way you can adjust it so it's like 1/4 of an inch. It might have to be 1/8 of an inch on top of the gong. And you might have to do that a few times, because currently I do not have any weight on this chain. And so when I put weight on this chain, that hammer can drop just a minute little bit. It can drop just a minute little bit, and it could take a few adjustments. And you can also look with these antique clocks, you can look in the side doors once you got the back door on to see where the gong is versus the hammer. If you don't have side doors, you can look in the cuckoo door. I personally wish they would have all made a hole in the back door. That way you can look through the hole to see where the hammer needs to be adjusted, but they didn't. And whether or not you want to drill a hole into your back door is totally up to you. But with a case like this, even though it has a partial label, I would not drill a hole in the back door because of the label. And I told you it doesn't matter whether you got a gong, a bell, rods, whether it's a time and strike clock or a Westminster chime clock or whatever, the hammer situation is the same. It's a Westminster clock. And so you have to adjust each rod, each hammer by itself when it comes to a chime clock. That didn't sound quite right to me. It sounded kind of dead. Didn't have that vibrant sound on the very first hammer that I lifted up. Neither did that one. That one sounded better. And that one sounded okay. And so this is where one of these wire benders comes in handy, if I could find one. One of these tools right here. Now, if you don't have one of these tools, you could take a screwdriver. Take a grinder with a cutting wheel on it and put a notch, a deep notch in this standard screwdriver, and it works almost the same as this. You see what I'm saying? It actually works better because you have a nice handle with a nice screwdriver like this. But anyway, I'm going to try to bend some of these levers, and I'm going to bend this one out of shape so you can hear it. Now it's out of shape, the best one, and now it's hitting the other bell, hammer, sorry. Let me grab my stick. Dead, dead, dead. So now I have to bend it away, the hammer away from the rod. And like I said, this could take some more than one adjustment. So anyway, I'm going to adjust this and we'll get back to you. And you should tighten up the rods or verify that they're tight in this block before you go stir crazy with the adjusting. But sounds a lot better, right? But this stick versus these wheels is a different story. So you need to turn the hands to listen to it that way in order to see if it sounds correctly. I've probably got to wind this thing up. Now, I could live with that, but y'all probably notice that this third one right here didn't quite sound like that when it was playing. And I want you to pay attention to the third one this time. That one that just played. To me, it's not quite adjusted properly, but I can live with it. So anyway, that is part of adjusting the how to adjust the hammers to the bells, gong, rods, whatever you have. And this guy, Jordan Busby, he's a young clock enthusiast. He loves clocks. He really loves electric Revere clocks. He could take, it doesn't matter whether it's Westminster chime, Whittington, or St. Michael's chimes. He could take a hammer and he could strike each one of these rods using a single hammer and make it sound like St. Michael's or Whittington or Westminster chimes. He has got a very good memory when it comes to stuff like that. I'm going to leave a link at the end of this video for Jordan's YouTube channel. He's, like I said, he's very young. I support anybody who is into clocks. You have to support the younger generation, or there's clock enthusiasts, clock repairers. It's already a dying breed. There used to be somebody who repaired clocks in almost every town that you went to. Not no more. There used to be 2 or 3 people or more in bigger towns, but not no more. It's a dying breed. And so a lot of it's got to do with maybe YouTube channels, but a lot of it's got to do with the younger generation not wanting to pay to have their inheritance clocks fixed or whatever. You also want to make sure that you don't have any paper in the bottom of your case preventing the chimes from working, and that might have been the case. Here is a instruction book for this clock, which is a bowl of a clock. And it has the balance wheel type escapement on it. But you want to make sure that there's nothing obstructing your chimes. I just keep that booklet in there. Anyway, as I was saying, please subscribe to Jordan Busby's YouTube channel. Now, you have to. It doesn't cost you a thing, okay? So why not support the younger generation to keep them enthusiastic about clocks, to keep that drive there? You know, he is the future of clock repair. I should be long dead when he gets older. He is going to be the person that will be repairing your clock. So support the younger generation. Please support, subscribe to the people that I list at the end of this YouTube video. There are several people out there that I will bend over backwards helping them out. And they will be listed at the end of this video, to include
Derek Torshindell. He's 70 years old, and he shows you how to repair torsion clocks, anniversary clocks. That's what he does for a living, people. But he's showing you for free because it doesn't cost you anything to watch a YouTube video. I take that back. There are some channels out there that you can become a member of their channel, and YouTube is now allowing you as a YouTube provider, that would be me, to make special videos for people who want to pay into my YouTube channel. I'm told you from the beginning, I'm never going to charge you, and I never will charge you for these videos. My videos will always be free as long as it's up to me. So, for the most part, YouTube is free. If you want to contribute to people, you could always send them money through PayPal, and you don't even have to know their PayPal account. There's just ways of doing that. So anyway, give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to people's videos, channels at the end of this video. Please leave me comments. And may God bless each and every one of you. Leave me comments if you have questions, concerns. If I need to make another video, I will.